Now I'm an impressionable 20-year-old, incessant people pleaser looking for love in New York City. Man, what an absolute destructive and problematic state to be in for years. And at this point, I was making upwards of 80, 90K, 20 years old. And obviously, the first thing that I want to do is travel. So for about 4 years, I spent every 3 to 4 months in a new country, partying, doing all the things that you shouldn't be doing, looking for love. And I definitely can't, I'm more experienced, so there's that side to it, but I can't necessarily say that I'm better for it. I don't think that I am. But I do have the experience. Now, during that time, I noticed that there was one central message that was coming at me from literally all angles. And actually, you know what? I got props for this message, right? This was something that I got 2 cups, right? It was in the music, it was in movies, it was in the media, it was in conversations with friends, and you couldn't hide from this. And that message was that I was half a person. Right? This is me. I'm half a person. My cup is half full. And what my mission is in life is to go and find my other half. So 2 half comes together, makes a whole. So this is me. This is my other half. And in order for me to be whole, I need to go find this person and they will make me whole. All right. Do you guys see the problem with this picture? All right. That's all I'm going to say about that for now. Right. But I needed to just show you guys that. So needless to say, I didn't find much luck with that. And coming from the background that I came from, being in the church and having this sole belief that I am meant to commit myself to one person for the rest of my life, which is something that I truly believe is the right way to do things. And that's kind of like the mindset that I went out into the world with, is that I will find this person and we will be committed to each other, no matter good, bad, thick, thin, better, worse, all of these things, right? And I'll find that person, and that's what the next step in my life would be. So then coming across a society where people were, how should I say this, liberated, it was very heartbreaking. It was really very heartbreaking. And instead of me staying in that heartbroken state, I took the mentality, it was like, all right, this is how we want to do things. I could play this game too. I could play, and I very well can. When love wasn't readily available to me, the next logical process in my mind was to then make love. And I'll talk more about that later, but it's what a sad and destructive thought that was, as if love was something that could be made. That took me down a very, very dark hole of trying to make this thing that I couldn't make manifest in my life, that would be something that could withstand the storms of life. I would just make it in the moment. And then coming to the realization that trying to make love was just something that was a broken loop, and it would just completely leave me feeling empty and unfulfilled. I turned to other things in order to feel good about myself. Remember, I was never somebody that was into smoking or anything like that. So one day I'm at my boy's spot and we shooting it. And this guy, I truly believe this, like I don't think that he had any negative intentions at all. This is a guy, 850 credit score. This guy is on his stuff. He doesn't play around. He's on his business. He's about making moves. And he says, you know what, man, listen, I want you to try this pen. This is oil, it's weed pen. And you know, it's not like the trees. It's not as dangerous. It's not as addictive. It's a more safe way to, you know, relieve some stress, to go through the day, to feel a little bit better about life. And I said, if Mr. 850, it works for him, it can't be that bad. And then, you know, it's like the organic version of, you know, like cool, it's organic. And so I started with the pens. And then after a while, the pens just wasn't hitting like how they used to. And I indulged and I got deeper and deeper into weed. I got deeper into sex. I started drinking a lot. I started cursing a lot. So that's kind of like, I just started doing all the things, and it honestly, in the moment, it felt great. It felt great to let go, and it felt great to feel good for the moment. But I couldn't help but feeling those moments, you know, those moments, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, and you're like, man, what am I doing? What am I doing here? Who is this person? Why am I here? What is happening? You know, like, you know, y'all know that feeling. And that was just a feeling that it was just happening over and over and over and over again. And it just felt like I was in this destructive cycle that didn't make me feel any better. My smoking, this is when I knew I was at the low point of smoking, right? Is that one time my mom came over and she found my roaches on my Bible. Like, that's when I was like, man, this is bad. Like, this is really, really bad. Like, man, I'm using my Bible as an ashtray. That was just really, really bad. On top of that, one of the things that I noticed was that I started feeling more and more feelings of anxiety, self-consciousness, self-loathing. Like, I started to really not like myself. And I would say this, like, because it's a weird way to see this, is that I was never suicidal. There's not a point in time where with my conscious mind that I thought, I want to kill myself, I don't want to live anymore. Not once did that thought ever pop into my conscious mind. However, thankfully, because I know it's not the same for a lot of people, but my actions, if I were to just tell you my actions, you would have thought that I was suicidal, because it's like, man, like the things that I would do. And then I rode a motorcycle. I ride a motorcycle. So like doing things, getting on my motorcycle, riding, like it is literally the grace of God that have brought me through certain situations, because I really could have not been here today. And I really mean that. I could have not been here. The last thing I'll say about this is that you come across a lot of people, and people have their own stuff and their own experiences, and they decide on what they decide to do with the information that they've received. And sooner or later, you will come into contact with just a spirit of absolute malevolence. And maybe they didn't start out that way, but they certainly did let certain experiences morally corrupt them. And to some degree, I did the same thing. So anything that happened to me was a result of my doing and a result of me ignoring my moral compass and having a lack of integrity when it all boils down to it. So you come into contact with certain people and they really have an impact on you. And that's all I'm gonna say about that.